Daf Yomi, Tractate Bava Batra, page 130b, top of the page. We were talking about Abba Hanan saying in the name of Rabbi Eliezer, on top of 130b, Ma Talmud Lomer Lo Yuchal Levaker. Why must the verse state he may not make the son of the beloved the firstborn? Deuteronomy 21:16. Lefi shenemar v'haya b'yomin chilas banav shiyach v'lo dinu v'ma pashut shipa kocho. שנוטל ברוי כבמוחזק, התוירה נס לרשוס לאב להנחיל לכל מי שירצה. בכור, שהורה כוחו, שאין נוטל ברוי כבמוחזק לא חושכן. Talmud Lomer lo yuchal levaker. Abba Hanan explains that it is necessary because it is stated previously in the verse that then it shall be in the day that he causes his sons to inherit, as one might have thought. Could this not be derived through a kal v'chomer inference? They call it a fortiori. That's just a fancy way of saying, or a Latin way of saying, kal v'chomer, which means light and strong. Yeah, if a weak guy can pick up 50 pounds, a strong guy could for sure pick up 50 pounds. That's what kal v'chomer is. So it's like, if this, and this is a situation, something more than that, definitely could do that thing. Okay, that's what a kal v'chomer is. Could this not be derived through a kal v'chomer inference, as follows? And if, with regard to an ordinary son, who is not a firstborn, whose power is enhanced in that he takes in inheritance of property due to the deceased as he does the property the deceased possessed at the time he died, nevertheless, the Torah gave the father permission to bequeath his estate to whichever of his sons he wishes, depriving his other sons of their portions. Then with regard to a firstborn, whose power is diminished in that he does not take a double portion of the property due to his father, as he takes the property of the deceased possessed at the time of his death, is it not clear, all the more so, that his father can deprive him of the double portion he received as a firstborn? Therefore the verse states, he may not. In other words, I would think that you could deprive Bechor. That's why the Torah has to say, he may not deprive the firstborn of his inheritance. Abba Hanan continues, and let the verse state only the prohibition of he may not make the son of the beloved the firstborn. Why must the verse state, then it shall be in the day that he causes his sons to inherit? ומה בכור שחור כוי חוי שאין הנויז לברוי כיל מוחזק אמר תוירה לא יוכל לבקר פשוט שיפקוי חוי שנות לברוי כיל מוחזק לכל שכן. It is necessary because one might have thought, could this not be derived from a kal v'chomer inference as follows? And if, with regard to a firstborn whose power is diminished in that he does not take a double portion of the property due to his father, as he takes of the property the deceased possessed. Nevertheless, the Torah states, he may not make the son of the beloved the firstborn. In other words, the firstborn may not be deprived of his double portion than with regard to an ordinary son, whose power is enhanced in that he takes inheritance the property due the deceased as he does the property the deceased possessed. Is it not clear, all the more so, that his father cannot deprive him of his portion of the inheritance? Talmud loymar v'hayav yomin chalas banav hatoyra nas dereshus la'av l'anchil lechol mi she'yirtzeh. Therefore the verse states, then it shall be in the day that he causes his sons to inherit, indicating that the Torah gave the father permission to bequeath his estate to whichever of his sons he wishes. Consequently, the prohibition, he may not make the son of the beloved the firstborn, is not available to prove that one may bequeath his estate to whichever of his sons he wishes. Amar Rav Zrika, Amar Rav Ami, Rabbi Ami, Amar Rav Chanina, Amar Rabbi. Halacha ke Rabbi Yochanan ben Beroka, Amar Rabbi Rabbi Hoira Itmar. The Gemara resumes discussion of the halachic ruling. Rabbi Zerika says that Rabbi Ami says that Rabbi Chanina says that Rabbi Yehuda Nazi says. The halacha is in accordance with the opinion of Rabbi Yochanan ben Broka. Rabbi Abba said to Rabbi Zerika, it was stated that Rabbi Yehuda Nazi ruled in an actual case in accordance with the opinion of Rabbi Yochanan ben Broka. B'mai kamifliki mar savar halacha adifa mar savar ma'aserav. The Gemara asks, with regard to what principle do they disagree? Since both Rabbi Zerika and Rabbi Abba agree that the halacha is in accordance with the opinion of Rabbi Yochanan ben Broka, why did Rabbi Abba state that Rabbi Yehuda Nasi ruled as much in an actual case? The Gemara answers, one sage, Rabbi Zerika, holds that a ruling in principle is a preferable source for halacha rather than a ruling from an incident. And one sage, Rabbi Abba, holds that a specific incident ruled upon by a sage is a preferable source. Tanu Rabbanan elamdin halacha lo b'pi Talmud v'lo b'pi ma'aseh ad shemru lo halacha le'ma'aseh sha'al v'amru lo halacha le'ma'aseh yelef yaseh ma'aseh v'vad shelo yidameh. The Gemara examines which source is preferable. The sages taught in Braita, one may derive the halacha neither from a statement nor from an incident where one saw a ruling issued in a certain manner, unless the sages explicitly tell him that it is the practical halacha. If he asked the sages, and they told him the practical halacha, he may go and act upon the ruling in those circumstances, provided that he does not compare between cases and apply the ruling to other circumstances. My ubilvad shelo yidameh. The Gemara asks, what is the meaning of the statement, provided that he does not compare? But don't we compare cases throughout the entire Torah? The main method of halachic derivation is through comparing cases where the halacha was already established to cases where the halacha is unclear. Amar Rav Ashi, hachikamar ubilvad shelo yidameh v'treifos. Rav Ashi said that this is what the Braita is saying. Provided that he does not compare between various cases of animals with wounds that will cause them to die within 12 months, which are forbidden for consumption. In general, one may compare cases, but with regard to the definition of a treifa, one may not compare. Titania, since we learned in a Braise, Einam Rabbi Treifa zu dam lazo, ve'al tisma, sheharei chodcha mikan umesa, chodcha mikan v'chayisa. As it is taught in the Braise, with regard to treifos, one does not say, this wound is similar to that wound. Every type of wound has its own halachot, and do not wonder about this principle, as there are organs with regard to which one cuts it from here, meaning one side, and the animal dies within 12 months, but one cuts it from there, from another side, and it lives. Amar le Rav Asi Rabbi Yochanan. Rav Asi says Rabbi Yochanan, Ki Amar lan mar halacha hachi navid mazeh Amar lo tavidu adamin halacha l'maseh. So Rav Asi said to Rabbi Yochanan, when the master, meaning Rabbi Yochanan, says to us, this is the halacha, should we act upon the ruling? Rabbi Yochanan said, do not act upon the ruling unless I say that it is a practical halacha. Okay. Amar lahu Rava l'Rav Papa u'l'Rav Huna b'rei Rav Yehoshua ki asi piskot dina di lekaimaychu v'chazitu bepircha lo tikreuhu adi asis u'lekamai is li tama amin lechu v'ila hadra rabi la'achar misa lo mikra tikrauhu migamar nami lo tigmeru mine lo mikra tigraune di havi hasam dilma havi amine lechutama. Rava said to Rav Papa, And Rav Huna, son of Yehoshua, when a legal ruling of mine comes before you, and you perceive a refutation of it, do not tear it up until you come before me to discuss it. If I have a valid explanation, I will tell you, and if not, I will retract my ruling. If a ruling of mine comes before you after my death, when you can no longer discuss it with me, do not tear it up, but do not learn from it either. Meaning, do not rule in accordance with it. Do not tear it up, as had I been there, perhaps I would have told you a valid explanation that you would have accepted. And this is middle of a statement, so we'll continue it with the next, God willing, with the next daf.